Welcome to Sew Against the Grain. My name is Mona. This video is going to be all about the items that I sewed in March of 2018. So I have my notes about each of the patterns that I sewed last month next to me. So I'm going to refer to them so I don't forget any of the important details as we go through this video. But all of the pattern information, fabric information, and sizing information I'll put up on the screen so you guys have an idea of all of the important details about everything that I sewed last month. I'll also include a photograph of me wearing each of the items so you can get an idea of what it looks like. If you have any specific questions about any of them, please let me know. But I hope this is going to be really enjoyable for everyone. Stay tuned. The first item I completed in the month of March, I'm actually wearing. This is the retro boogie shirt, which was a great knit pattern. And I'll put all the details up on the screen about the fabric that I used and the pattern itself. I made a couple of changes to it. So the pattern is written so that the neck bands are actually turned to the inside of the shirt. But I cut them on the cross stripe, I guess, from the rest of the top. So I actually left them on the outside because I thought the contrast looked pretty cool. So that was really the only change that I made. I did lengthen the sleeve a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty much as written. I'm definitely going to make this pattern again, and when I do, I'm going to size down overall one size, and then the shoulders and upper chest, I'm going to size down 2 sizes because it's a little bit wide and a little bit loose on the top. And it's a little bit loose all over, so I think sizing down a little bit will make a really great fit. But I think it's a great top. I wear it quite a bit. I think it has a really neat look. I might try, the shoulders that come over to the front are actually gathered, and I might try and kind of leave them wider on the next one to see if I like that look. But overall, this is a really great pattern. I had a really great time sewing it. There are a few spots in the pattern where the seam allowance size changes, which is one of my pet peeves in patterns. So just know that if you're gonna sew it up, and that's something that irritates you as well, is that the seam allowances do change depending on the part of the garment that you're sewing. This fabric was pretty difficult to sew with my sewing machine. I've sewn rayon spandex knits before and haven't had a lot of trouble, but this one, for some reason, my sewing machine just didn't really enjoy sewing. So I tried to do as much of it as I could on my serger, but the parts I had to do on my machine, especially where the pattern called for really small seam allowances, I just did like a regular 5/8 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch at the very least. There were a couple that were even smaller than that. So great pattern, but food for thought if you decide to make it up. And one really exciting note is that the retro boogie shirt is on my Make 9 for this year. So that is item number 1 that I can cross off my 2018 Make 9 list, which is really exciting. Item number 2 that I finished in the month of March is a red rayon and lace Anna dress. And there's something about the Anna dress pattern that is magical and looks amazing on every single person I have ever seen sew it and post a picture of it. And I am completely enamored with this pattern. This was also on my 2018 Make 9 list. I made the Anna dress twice in the month of February, and this red and lace version is actually at least my 3rd or 4th version. And it is a really fun, easy, simple, and beautiful pattern. I didn't make a lot of changes to the red lace version. I did do a small sway back adjustment. I finished the hem on the sleeve a little bit differently than the pattern asked you to. I just thought it was a nicer finish, so I did it a little bit differently for that. And I treated the red rayon challis that is underneath the lace for the dress as an underlining for the bodice. So I just I cut out the pattern twice, once in the rayon and once in the lace. I basted the pieces together and I constructed the bodice as normal. And for the skirt, I did a traditional lining where it's separate except for the very back seam where the zipper is, where it's sewn together like an underlining, but the rest of it is constructed independently. Item number 3 is the Cabbage Roses Anna dress. I think this Anna dress is number 4 that I've done in the first few months of 2018. It could be more by now, I'm not sure. The fabric was great to work with. Michael Miller's quilting cotton is so easy to work with and so easy to sew, so this was a delight to work with. I did cut, because it's a border print, I did cut the skirt on the cross grain to be able to make good use of the border print. I just did a gathered dirndl for the skirt and used the Anna bodice. I haven't made the Anna pattern skirt at all. I've just done a gathered dirndl on all of them. I like that look and that skirt shape better. Number 4 is what I'm calling my desert dress. So this is, again, some Michael Miller fabric. And I used the basic bodice pattern from Gertie's Ultimate Dress Book with a short sleeve pattern that's in the same book. And this just has a gathered dirndl. The pattern on this fabric is running cross grain. So everything, the bodice and the skirt, is cut out on the cross grain for this one. And this was a really fun make. And I've made the bodice pattern out of Gertie's Ultimate Dress Book so many times that I have it kind of adjusted to fit me perfectly, so this was a really quick sew. Item number 5 is Butterick 6563, which is a new pattern by Gertie for Butterick. And I made it up in a plaid shirting that I picked up from Joann's. It's a really, really good pattern. I really enjoyed making it. I'm making a couple sizing adjustments for the second one because the hips were a little bit tight on the version that I made. So I'm gonna grade between sizes for the hips, and the sleeve is a little bit off of my shoulder on the first version, so I've actually done a narrow shoulder adjustment on the second version as well. My favorite part of this pattern is I really like the cut-on facing, so you don't have to cut a separate piece for a facing. There's never a seam that flips out. It's all one piece that you interface kind of the underside of and then flip over. The other nice construction detail about the blouse is that it has a really nice finish on the inside for the facing and the collar. And so I actually have the second version of the blouse that I'm able to show you to give you an idea of what the collar finish looks like. So this is how the facing and the collar finish inside the Butterick blouse. You can see that the collar, actually there's no facing behind the collar, and it's just hand stitched down, and then the facing is hand stitched down to the seam allowance on the shoulder. So it's just a really, really nice finish on the inside. The facing is really securely sewed down, which is my preference for facings if I use them. And then the collar is a really nice finish on the inside as well. And make number 6 for the month of March, which is the last one I'm going to talk about in this video, is my first Rita Blouse, which is also my 2018 Make 9. So I made a lot of progress in the month of March for getting through some of the patterns I was really excited to sew for this year. The Rita Blouse is an amazing pattern. The fit was great. The construction details are great. Super easy. It's a quick sew. I think the thing that took the longest time is the invisible zipper, because I'm not a huge fan of using them and I'm not very good at putting them in. So I think for future versions I might try just doing a regular centered zipper on the side instead. I've done that in blouses and had good luck with it, so I might try that out to see, because I find them much easier to put in. And I definitely had to take out the invisible zipper at least one time and reinsert it because I was having a hard time getting it facing the right direction. So the next time that I make this, and there's definitely going to be a couple of next times, I think any scraps of rayon or scraps of lawn or any kind of light cotton, I'm going to set aside and see if I can get a Rita Blouse out of it. It doesn't take a lot of fabric, so I'm hoping that some of the leftovers I have from some of my bigger projects will make great Rita Blouses, because it looks great tucked into skirts and high-waisted pants. I might lengthen the front of the midriff a little bit because it's a little bit short in the front, but the length for the rest of the blouse was really great. I know some people have had some trouble with the back being a little bit poofy, which I didn't have. It looks great in the back, so I'm not sure if it was a matter of just kind of cinching up the elastic a little bit more, or if it just fit my back better than it would for other people, but I had a great turnout with the back. I didn't have any unwanted poofiness. I am definitely going to go down one size in the midriff and up one size in the cup the next time I make it. It was a little bit loose around the bottom and didn't quite come to the bottom of my bust. I had a little bit of space under my bust where the seam didn't actually meet my rib cage. So I think going up a bust size will help with that. And then I think also going down in a midriff size will kind of pull everything down and keep it where it should be, as opposed to it being a little bit loose and pulling up. But overall, such an amazing pattern. I'm really glad I sewed it up. I'm really glad I bought it when it was available. So I think of all of my makes this month, the Rita Blouse is definitely a highlight. I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. And I have another few pieces of fabric set aside that I want to make some Rita Blouses out of. So I definitely encourage you all to take a look at that if that's something you're interested in. Of course, I love all of the Anna dresses I've sewed. That's been such a great pattern. And then also the retro boogie shirt I've gotten a lot of wear out of. I'm on a mission to replace my boring, worn out, ready to wear t-shirts with something a little bit more interesting and vintage inspired. And I think that this is a really good option for that. And will really be a good wardrobe staple as I make up more of them. This has really been a great fit for me. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to start doing some regular videos, recapping things that I've made. I have been really excited to watch other YouTubers' videos about some of their monthly makes. So I hope that this is as enjoyable for others as I have found the videos I've been watching recently. And I think that I'm off to a great start with my March video and having completed 6 items. I know that pace is definitely not typical for me. I got a lot done this month. But I do think that it was really interesting for me to kind of look back on some of the things that I've made and think about my reflections and things I would do differently next time. So I still am keeping track of all of my makes in a notebook, which has been really helpful as I've kind of thought through what my recap video would include, or some of the sizing or changes that I would make for the next go round to make the patterns. But I think overall I had a really good month. I got a lot of really great makes out of it, and I am looking forward to recapping April. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye. Dasha, you're in the video. Dasha. Dasha, you're in the video. You gotta move. You gotta move. You have to move. You're gonna get your cat hair all over me, Dasha.